is a wise decision. It's unlike what used to happen before, when political leaders used to castigate their followers because of working with the opposition. And also, I must thank Raila for being realistic with the handshake. The president himself said that the time had come to end politics of rhetoric. But I can see that the deputy president, on the other hand, is trying his level best to inroad the strongholds of the opposition. Nothing wrong with that. But he's defying the president. And in that case, I would rather say that the president is being defied by his deputy.
By his deputy. All right, we'll get into matters politics a little bit later on in the show and basically look at the scramble for coast. And one might argue and say that the deputy president is merely, making sure that the development agenda is realized. There are others that say he's campaigning, but we'll get into that. But there's also a story on page 6 of the Standard where EACC deal with company to return 800 million for clinics. Now, many of us will remember those containers that were brought to Mombasa and are still, at the port, basically as clinics, mobile clinics, but were never utilized. And the EACC is negotiating for some of the money to be returned, as these containers were highly inflated. The deal shows that the Chinese company from Guangzhou, Moneybox Steel Structures, received 525 million. And the go-between, what we'd call in Kenya the middleman, was left with a whopping 275 million just for negotiating that particular incident. And Professor Baby, just for one who has worked with the police and intelligence, when we're talking about corruption, is this a case of corruption, or this is just merely theft?
That is
275 million
that
shillings.
Is theft, and the AICC action is serenious. I think they're trying just to cover themselves. AICC should be disbanded and returned to the DCI, and a lifestyle audit of those officers should be taken into consideration on a serious note. Because these are the people who have been aiding and abetting crime. And if you look at what has happened before, we have not had any kind of serious prosecution by these fellows. So by the time they're trying to do some kind of exercise, to Kenyans and the majority of Kenyans, this is a serenious exercise.
What do you think actually bedevils the EACC? Because it's not that the structures are not there. They have the rules and regulations under which to operate, but their excuse has been their lack of ability or power to prosecute. What really do you think is the problem with the EACC? Because as an institution and as a thought by the Constitution, it may not be a problem. Is it the operators? Is it the people in charge?
I think it's the people who appointed them, because these are just stooges who are appointees of some of those political big ears, as we know them. If you look at the lineup of the AICC membership, you'll find out that the way they came into existence was through lobbying. Even though there was that kind of ego treatment by actually having the exercise to pass through the Public Service Commission, that was just a rhetoric exercise. And as such, those people who are in the office are actually playing the whims of those who appointed them. Lobbyists and lobbying and mediocre middlemen who have actually infiltrated all areas of government through loyalty and appointment. So I have no confidence in those people.
All right, and talking about infiltrating the whole government,